You were
It's
very
not a
sorry
brain.
at the time. You apologised.
Yeah.
You were very upset. Are you no longer sorry for it?
Correct. I'm no longer sorry. The whole outrage was BS. The whole thing got so blown out of proportion, and I lost everybody.
But do you not agree that that picture holding up a severed head, I know it's a mask covered in tomato sauce, but do you not accept that was a little bit over the line?
No, you're full of crap. Stop this. You know this. Stop acting like my little picture is more important than talking about the actual atrocities that the President of the United States is committing. No, I don't apologize for that photo anymore. And I think the outrage is complete BS because we have real things to deal with.
Absolutely. I don't think I will have a career after this. I'm going to be honest, he broke me. He broke me. And then I was like, no, this isn't right. It's just not right. And I apologized because that was the right thing to do and I meant it. And then I saw the tide turning and I saw what they were doing and I went, oh, okay, they're trying to spin this and they're making it about heroin, and obviously that was never my intent. I would never want to hurt anyone, much less a child, but I started to see what was really happening. And then it was a mob mentality pile-on. And so many people have expressed to me personally across the country at my shows, they're scared. So, yeah, I don't know when you're going to arrest him today. I don't know. But I have to stand up.
What do you think about someone firing you?
It's hurtful to me.
Hurtful.
Yeah.
It's censorship is what it is. I'll say it more bluntly. She worked there for 10 years.
Look, there's
the best thing about New Year's Eve.
There's a bunch of old white guys trying to silence me, and I'm just here to say that's wrong.
Ah, isn't that sad? You know, I was one of the few people that said, don't fire Kathy Griffin, and she has a right to be as obnoxious and rude. Now, it does cross a line, and I don't even think it's really that blurry if you're doing things and saying things that could be a potential threat to the President of the United States. I mean, you do have Johnny Depp talking about, oh, when's the last time an actor assassinated the President of the United States? Or Robert De Niro saying he wants to punch him in the face, and the many other incidences of threats and violence. Anyway, here to discuss all of this from every aspect of it, we have Katie Hopkins, the gobby one from the Daily Mail UK, and Geraldo Rivera, Fox News host, legal analyst, and colleague and antagonizer of Sean Hannity in all of real life. And even a friend. I mean, if he'll admit it publicly, which I know he will because he's my brother. Geraldo, I'm very sensitive to the idea. I mean, her whining and crying and taking back what she said and my little picture, and if this can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. I'm not, which is the real Kathy Griffin here?
First of all, you are my brother from another mother.
Yeah.
Second of all, as the father of 5, I wanted to pick up that screaming baby. I wanted to shout out, someone pick up that baby. It was hysterical, those tears.
I'm just like, you're an overpaid actress and frankly not even that funny. But I'm very torn.
But, we have a lot of latitude in this country. A lot of, you can make fun of everything. You can make fun of anything. The one thing you can't do is to threaten the life of the President of the United States. It's a simple statute. You cannot do it. You can't threaten the life of the President or the first family. It's a federal violation. It brings in the Secret Service, as Kathy learned to her great discomfort. They came, they interrogated her. It's a very serious matter. Some things are just, maybe you laugh at it. Maybe it was a joke that some people found amusing. I
don't see anything funny about it. Well, what about Madonna? And you know Madonna well, but with her phony British accent, Katie Hopkins, and she says, I dream an awful lot about blowing up the White House. Now, I can only imagine if I ever said that. Geraldo, who's one of my best friends, would call for my firing. If Obama was in office.
Yes, well, of course, and you should be fired for something like that, my darling. I was there.
Thanks, my darling.
She said those words at the women's marches in Washington, and to be honest, the crowd went crazy. They love that stuff. And so I think with Kathy Griffin, with Madonna, I think these individuals, these lunatics, these idiots have the right to say whatever they think. I don't really think she should even be fired or lose her job for it, but I do think that we have to accept the consequences of the stuff we say, and we can't moan about it when we don't like the consequences. So if I tweet something and I'm fired from something, that's my problem. I still got to say it, but I have to accept I may well lose my job, or in Kathy's case, she lost some friends over it and her kind of her gigs around the country for her so-called comedy. But what I don't like about Kathy Griffin, and Madonna for that matter, is the idea that they suddenly blame the fact that they're women. They suddenly blame that there's misogynists out there. That it's suddenly because they're female. No, it's not because you're female. It's because you're an idiot. And above that, you also have ginger hair, and that's inexcusable.
Oh, my God.
How harsh.
Oh, ouch. By the way, we are not responsible for what guests say on the Sean Hannity Show. The opinions expressed are those of the guests and the guest only.
That's a cop-out. That's a cop-out.
That's such a cop-out. I'm such a wimp.
You don't need to own it. You don't need to own it. I'll own it.
I know you're owning it.
Yeah, exactly. So they can
listen,
fire me or
I happen to
whatever.
be Irish, and there's a lot of people with red hair in my family. If you don't mind, ease up on my people, will you?
Do not my people me. You don't have people and you don't have friends. So don't claim that stuff. Just because you paid this guy to come on and pretend to like you. He's not your friend. I'm not your friend. And no one likes you. Even your producer, Linda, she completely hates you. She's just doing this for penance.
Wow.
So get over yourself.
Wow. Get over myself.
I love you,
You're
Katie.
on holiday,
I have
right?
no idea what color my hair is.
You and me
It's all
both.
the Lady
It
Clairol I
sounds
put
grey.
It sounds just for men, for me and Geraldo.
Grey.
Now, why are you being so mean today, Katie Hopkins?
Because you, Mr. Hannity, are going on holiday for 5 days. I haven't been on holiday yet, and frankly, if I'm working harder than you, then you're going to get a tough time.
With all due respect, I don't think a lot of people work. Yeah, exactly.
Get your baby noise playing. Go on. Yeah, listen to Sean Hannity moan about his life. It's so hard being me.
Wow. No, I have nothing to complain about, Katie Hopkins.
No, you do not.
I have a holiday coming up, one of the rare holidays I have in my life. I'm sorry if it offends you so much.
This is not okay.
No. Geraldo, but let me go to, we've been talking a lot about these Antifa people. Why did it take so long to get a single Democrat to say what I've been saying, and that is there are violent groups of people? And even Nancy Pelosi validating that they existed in Charlottesville. When the president said it, everybody went insane. But they did exist. That's just a fact. We've shown the video 100 times. You've seen it.
But the video was the difference. The video in Berkeley over the last week is what I think put it over the top. It was incontrovertible. It was indisputable. It was there. You saw it was the Antifa people perpetrating all the violence, and they made President Trump's case, the Charlottesville case, for him. But I have to say this about the Trump family in all seriousness. They are so deeply unpopular with the mainstream media that anything they do that can be ridiculed will be ridiculed. Witness what happened with Melania's shoes yesterday, where you had a president of the United States doing the right thing as healer-in-chief, going to Texas in the midst of this catastrophe. And what was everybody fastened on, at least in the initial stages? Melania's high heels. So, and ruthlessly. But the thing is, you can make fun of the high heels. That's fair game.
Well, why is it fair game? No, I disagree. Because if Michelle Obama, I don't remember her going to Sandy, Geraldo. And both of us had a lot of friends that lost their homes in Sandy, and I don't remember her being there. And I remember Chris Christie with his big hug of Barack Obama.
My point is that there is so much latitude, so many things you can make fun of, whether it's distasteful or not. But you cannot, going back to our original discussion, threaten the life and well-being of the first family. That's where she stepped over the line.
But what if Sean Hannity said,
falling on deaf ears?
What if Sean Hannity said, oh, my gosh, look at what Michelle Obama's wearing? What would happen to me?
Well, you would, but you are in the problem you face when you wake up every morning. It's just like the President of the United States. You know that 70% of the punditry is hostile to you.
70, 90, 99%.
You fight back. You are. I think you would have. I say this, and I say this unabashedly. If you existed with the power you have now during 1972, 1973, Richard Nixon would never have been forced forced to resign. You would have protected the office of the presidency against that rinky-dink, second-rate burglary. You would have, and the cover-up that followed, you would have fought against it. You would have protected him. You now have changed the equation. Now there's comedy on both sides. Now there's power on both sides, even though you know that, if you were in the House of Commons, you'd be in the back bench because of the...
all right, stay right there.
Everybody is a liberal.
I don't know if I take all that credit, but I will say this. What has been thrown at this president is unprecedented. And you have 5 major forces. If you're going to... Here's the guy trying to help people. People are dying, and they're talking about stilettos and high heels. I mean, it's so petty and it's so despicable and so out of context and reality of what real lives and suffering are going on. It drives me nuts. We'll even bring Katie back in the next segment, although she's beating me up today. 800-941-SEAN is our number. You want to be a part of the program. More with Katie Hopkins, the mean one, and Geraldo Rivera straight ahead. All right, as we continue with Geraldo Rivera, Fox News, Katie Hopkins, the Daily Mail, and Katie's being particularly mean to me, but we're talking about where there might be limits on freedom of speech. The one thing that really stands out in my head is, all of these threats collectively about dreaming of blowing up a White House, punching the president in the face. When's the last time an actor assassinated a president of the United States? And then a severed bloody head in an ISIS pose by Kathy Griffin. And, I'm just torn on it because I think it's right at that line where any reasonable person would recognize that that is a specific threat. And it certainly delegitimizes and dehumanizes the president. And that could inspire crazy people to go do whatever they're going to do, Katie.
I think so, too. I also worry that tomorrow is the start of what I would call the Google purge, where they're going to close down accounts on YouTube, which I guess is the same kind of conversation. We would be very happy if YouTube shut down all of the sites that ISIS are allowed to put their material out on. But what we're seeing, of course, is a shutting down of conservative YouTube accounts. We're seeing them being demonetized. I think 2 of the lovely ladies, is it Diamond and Silk? I think they've encountered problems. And I think that's what I worry about, is where that line is between freedom of speech and then the other way, which is where we get censorship of the internet. And that's a curious place for us to find ourselves in 2017.
Geraldo, what are your thoughts on that? These are really profound questions because you and I both know ISIS is evil. And we both know that they trigger cells all around the world through the internet. But how do you possibly monitor that?
In that regard, I have to say, Sean and Kathy, that I err in favor of censorship, and I'll tell you why. The internet has allowed a network to be established, no matter how hideous the people who are having the conversation. It allows for the most potent and malignant recruitment that you can possibly imagine. It is an extremely effective tool. It can negate a $1 trillion defense operation for 50 cents. And I believe that if, for instance, the KKK wanted to talk to the KKK via the internet, let them talk on kkk.com, where it is clearly delineated. You know exactly what you're in, rather than infiltrate, rather than disguise. I think that it is incumbent on YouTube, which is Google, and Facebook, and all the rest of it, to monitor this very, very potent line of communication. If they had the internet, can you imagine in the Second World War, everybody would have known everything that was going on in either camp. So
if we take the example from this week where, neither you nor I would be a supporter of any of these things, but what we're talking about is whether they should have the freedom. Daily Stormer, so that would be the publication.
These are the Nazi people, right?
Correct. But their publication, the Daily Stormer, was pulled from the internet. The guy that hosts it said he was pulling it all. So the Cloudflare site that hosts it pulled the hosting of it. Is that fair then?
Well, I think the Daily Stormer should have a requirement that if you're a Daily Stormette, then I want a list of who's using this.
Yeah, but instead they pulled the whole thing.
I mean, you can say anything you want to whomever you want as long as it doesn't break the law, like threatening the life of the first family.
But no, they pulled the whole thing.
But I want to know who you are. I don't want a fourth column,
but can I ask you a question?
in my backyard.
Let me ask you a question. You said it's fine that we have censorship. You're pro-censorship for ISIS. None none of us are disagreeing with you, but then they've now censored the Daily Stormer. I'm not a subscriber, nor are you, I'm sure. But should they censor the Daily Stormer? Where do you stop with your censorship? Just the good guys?
I want a list of the subscribers to the Daily Stormer. I want a list of the subscribers to the Daily Stormer.
Yeah, but your censorship just extended to them as well.
Porno, that's
and by the way, what do we do, Geraldo, when the leftists are in power and they want a list of everybody I talk to, including you and Katie?
But why not give it to them? Why not? I mean, Sean, you have no secrets.
I don't. But I thought we had first. But what about privacy protections?
You've got to regulate this stuff, or the terrorists will use the.
I don't know.
I don't know, Geraldo.
Sean, why are you friends with this guy? I mean, really.
Listen, I never said I agreed with him.
Hey.
Listen, I think his mission in life is to poke and prod me.
He belongs to you, and he wants censorship.
My mission in life is.
I do not want censorship. I do not. I mean,
well, he's your friend.
Oh, my God. All right, we're going to put you two back together when I get back from holiday.
Holidays.
I take so many holidays.
You need a holiday. Your life's so hard. You have to talk on TV and the radio.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to make you...
Oh, it's so hard.
I'm going to make you sing the next time you are back. All right, Katie Hopkins, Geraldo. Geraldo will see you on TV, but we won't see Katie, thank God. Quick break, right back.